What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome back to the Warframe video. So, we're doing our traditional devstream bingo card today. We basically predict what's going to be happening on the devstream, that's happening tomorrow. And yeah, just basically going to have a little bit of fun with it. Keep in mind, I will be live streaming the new Warframe devstream tomorrow on my live stream channel, so go check it out if you haven't checked it out already. Yeah, we do lots of Warframe streams there, live streams, all that. And of course, there will be a non-live stream coverage on this channel. Like I'll do like a video review of the devstream and all that and the stuff if you don't feel like watching it or whatever. So yeah, hope you guys find this enjoyable. We made this bingo card on the stream as well, so yeah, if you want to be part of future videos, definitely check out that live stream channel. Alright, enough of that. Now, before we get into this though, I want to quickly go over this. We only have this to go off of what the devstream will be about. Basically, Duviri is delayed, and we're getting this instead. Whatever this is supposed to be. At first, I was like, oh, this is a new bug Warframe. And then over the course of like an 11-hour stream, people like started to like convince me it might actually be a rhino skin, which would be really, really unfortunate. But yeah, let's start going over it, and you can decide if you think it's a rhino skin or something else. All right, let's start off. So these are going to be just predictions, things that, you know, potentially might be happening soon, things I know should be happening soon that we haven't gotten any updates on in a while. So keep that in mind. Okay, and then we're gonna talk about like the context of this stuff too, and explain why this is on this list. So hopefully you enjoy this stuff, and feel free to make your own. I will link this down below if you want to just use this exact one. It will randomize the squares and all that, but bingobaker.com is the hookup. So let's start off with number one, Lavos Deluxe. So basically, the most recent deluxe skin we got was Zaku Deluxe, and then the frame that came out after Zaku was Lavos. So maybe a Lavos Deluxe could potentially be shown, a concept art at least. There's been some really cool concept art of Gyre Deluxe on like Twitter and stuff, but I personally don't feel like Gyre is ready for a deluxe skin. Is that the right way I want to put that? I don't think Gyre is ready for a deluxe skin yet, and I don't think Sevagoth or Ureli really need one yet either. So maybe Lavos Deluxe. But they could also technically do it. I don't think there's not a Baruch Deluxe yet, but we just got Baruch Prime. So Baruch Deluxe could also technically be in this space. Moving on. Okay, so this one actually is going to require a little bit more explanation. So that picture I showed you, we were talking about this on stream yesterday. I've actually been mentioning this for a while. If we get infested liches, I feel like a fun way to do infested liches, because if you didn't know the lore, Warframes are just infested flesh, basically turned into a death machine pretty much. An infested lich, the concept in my head was they would take over Warframe. So it would be an infested lich Warframe, and once you kill the lich, it'd be a new version of a Warframe you could use that maybe would have like, I don't know, built-in toxin damage on abilities, or like, so you get an impact where you have built-in impact damage on your abilities, and etc., etc. So that's the one they could do it. The other way they could do it is like you actually fight. It'd be like kind of like a specter. This rhino is the lich. You made the larvaling with rhino. Now the larvaling is now the lich is a rhino lich, and it would still drop a weapon or whatever. But at the end, you know, you fight a rhino gross bug thing. So, you know, either way, that this could be cool. I hope it's not just a deluxe skin, but it's likely just a deluxe skin. A very out of season April Fool's joke. So prepare to hear me scream if you're on that stream tomorrow, and this is just a rhino skin. Moving on, bug frame said by the developers. It feels like it's too easy to just not put this one on here. So, bug frame set up by developers. It's either going to be a bug Warframe or a bug skin for a Warframe. So, them saying bug frame is highly likely, so that might be a pretty easy one to fill in. Next one, raids mentioned in any way. Previous dev streams in 2022, DE did say that they would be looking to see what they can do with raids in 2023. And we are in 2023 now. Duviri might not be here, but I still remember what they said in 2022, so raids mentioned in any way would be great, and yeah, we could have like an entire like video series on what raids in Warframe probably should be, or what they could be, but we'll see what we end up actually getting, if anything at all. Next one, we got any mention of Soulframe. Let's be real here, the game feels like it's kind of in maintenance mode right now. And why is that? Because a lot of their main developers went over to work on the other game that DE's making, Soulframe. If they mention Soulframe in any way, you can fill in this square right next to the raids mentioned anyway. Next one, Zaramon Fissures. Did you know there's a minor spoiler alert? If you haven't beaten every story quest in the game, there is a new planet unlocked after you beat the New War quest. Actually, after you beat some other quests of the New War too. It's called Zeramon, and there's a lot of missions that are not available on it. Specifically, arbitration missions and fissure missions. And also the game modes for that new planet are pretty fun. They're actually unique game modes that are not on... Well, at least one of the game modes is pretty fun. They are not on other planets, though. So if they were to make Zeramon fissures, that could be nice. It'd probably end up being like Axii or Requiem fissures. I would hope Axii, but Requiem would also technically be fine. So yeah, that would be nice. It's not very likely to happen, but it's something that is definitely sorely needed. Every planet should have fissures, honestly. And also every planet should have arbitrations, because you need to actually beat Zeramon to get access to arbitrations, which is hilarious. But yeah. Moving on, new Tennogen. It sure has been a couple months since we got new Tennogen skin, right? Being realistic here, they will probably be some new skins soon, so they can put more Wisp skins in the game. Probably about 2 or 3 is my guess. Next one, AoE self-damage nerf. Okay, so this one actually does have a lot to go off of. They basically said that they were going to add self-damage back to rocket launchers and like Kuvazars and all that last year. Same time they were supposed to release Duviri, by the way. But they decided it was not really worth putting out yet because they're going to have to like patch it a bunch because they weren't sure exactly what they want to do with it. So if they are showing more, or like rather give us a time frame of when they're going to be adding self-damage back, maybe they'll do it now. I don't think it's the right time to be adding gigantic nerfs to the game, personally. Especially when you just delayed a major update. But hey, you know, it's their game. They'll nerf what they want to. So that's an option for sure. Moving on next to, speaking of nerfs, Nourish nerf. I use Nourish on basically every Helminth frame now, and it's extremely insane. Like, it actually is. There's very few frames I don't use this on. I'm using it on in the Baruch footage in the background right now. So if they don't nerf it, that's great. I'll just keep using it, but it's speculated by a lot of people it might get nerfed. And honestly, guys, it's better than Gloom. People that think Gloom is better, like, you don't even know what Nourish probably does. It does a lot more than Gloom does. So, yeah, it also gives you a damage buff, and it gives your teammates a damage buff, too. So, I could see it happening. They nerfed Helminth Roar to give it half the amount of damage buff that normal Rhino has, and this gives the same amount of viral damage that Grendel does. The only difference is there's no enemy eating requirement, and there's also no self-heal, so it's still really, really crazy good. But arguably better than the one that Grendel has, because you don't have to eat enemies. So, moving on. Plaguestar rework info. Plaguestar, the event, has not come back for a while, and the developers did say when it does come back, it will be reworked in some way. So, like I said, we haven't had Plaguestar in over a year. Maybe they'll talk about the Plaguestar rework on this dev stream. But Plaguestar is usually more of like a summer event, I've noticed. So it might still be a couple more months until we're seeing the Plaguestar rework that was told to us is going to happen before Plaguestar comes back. If you're wondering why Plaguestar hasn't come back, it's because they want to... They basically thought it was too repetitive or whatever, and they wanted to rework it. So hopefully it's not Forma Blueprints now, and it's still fully built Forma. Moving on, we got Warframe Mobile. That is actually... The beta for that has been out for a couple months, I feel like. But it's not actually out yet. So I'm expecting cross-save and Warframe Mobile to go hand in hand. So when we get to the cross-save and cross-platform information square, of course, we'll talk about that a little bit more there too as well. So expecting Warframe Mobile out sometime, like, honestly, first half of the year, maybe? Moving on, we got Inaros rework info. Another thing confirmed by the devs before. Inaros is potentially, well, not even potentially, according to their words, Inaros is next to get reworked. Yeah, in front of Hydroid. And I have actually a lot of excitement for this because I think Inaros has potential. His theme and concept has a lot of potential. He looks really awesome. He looks like Anubis or whatever, but his abilities are actually bad. His abilities are worse than having no abilities in some situations because pushing that button is just a waste of time. You stun lock yourself using Inaros abilities. And he also has no shield, so at high levels he gets one shot. They could make him some kind of frame where he is like a soul stealer, like you blind an enemy, or maybe make it where his sand tornado is like Zephyr's tornado, where you just place it down and like it roams around and does stuff. Maybe it like armor strips the enemies, or like blinds the enemies, or debuffs them, or something actually useful, and make it so he doesn't get one shot at like level 500 or whatever. And then that's a good start. The free square is Star Days. Star Days is always in February, and they'll probably show us the new ticker floof that will be coming in Star Days. This one is actually probably one of the most important ones in this whole list. Archon Shard quality of life / stuff. Archon Shard Tau Shards are a major complaint for people that actually play this game. And yeah, it just feels bad. I have a bunch of normal shards and only like 5 Tau Shards. So I know saying only 5 Tau Shards just really annoyed somebody. Just really annoyed somebody watching. But I do literally every Archon hunt, and I complain a lot. So I'm gonna complain about not having like multiple additional Tau shards after that too. But either way, we need to have something that is working towards that, in my opinion, or just like something to use stock on that's not Archon mods. Or I don't want to buy a blue shard this week from Ticker or whatever his name is, Chipper. I'm gonna buy an Archon upgrader, whatever, or a shard upgrader, and then if I sacrifice 2 normal shards and like some ducats and Kuva and etc., it will become a Tau shard. Things like that. There's like millions of ideas for it, but that's just one idea I just thought of out of my head. Moving on, bad damage type rework. This is likely not to happen, but I hope it does someday. Bad damage types such as puncture damage, cold damage, blast damage, and maybe magnetic damage a little bit too. Those damage types are not exactly exciting, and you would think magnetic damage would be really cool, like it pulls enemies in together. No, it's just like a viral debuff on shields pretty much, and most meta players just bypass enemy shields with toxin anyway, so it doesn't have much place. Basically, the only reason that magnetic is used because it's a combined element that will not mess up your CO procs with like the Kuva Nucor or whatever. So, not phenomenal. And puncture procs, they bypass enemy armor a little bit, or rather puncture damage bypasses enemy armor, but puncture procs do basically nothing. Just make the enemy do less damage to you, which is a little bit strange. So maybe they'll do that, hopefully. They did that a couple years ago with like viral and corrosive. They changed viral and corrosive for the good, for the better. But yeah, viral is just like insanely good. So maybe buff some stuff up. Blast damage, like what does a blast proc even do in 2023? Oh, it reduces enemy accuracy. Yeah, they're supposed to just be dead. If they're shooting, that's a problem. All right, moving on. Usage charts for 2022. We didn't actually get the usage charts for 2022. I'm guessing that like Saren and maybe Wukong. Wukong got nerfed last year, but I think it was like pretty far through the year when Wukong got nerfed. So he probably was still going to be really high on that usage chart. Wukong Prime, just basically an AFK frame. Same with Korra. Korra might be on there too, so it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of fun to see what was used the most personally. Calihu and Gyre buff. Caliban is like basically one of the most forgotten frames ever. Like literally, his ability is an anti-synergy. His first ability is the worst ability in the game. Like actually maybe worse than Naros abilities. And yeah, he came out like a year ago. Like actually more like a year and a half ago. Totally worthless frame. And Gyre, I played Gyre the other day. I've really been trying to make Gyre work. It just sucks to play Gyre. Her abilities have like massive restrictions for some reason. She has like a cooldown on her 3 if you are constantly killing enemies. So she has to be in a high kill environment all the time. And also, her electric procs they're not consistent. Enemies are shocked all around me, but they're still shooting at me. So constantly having to shield gate. She has no good Helminth, or she has no good survivability. You have to use Helminth to get survivability. Just feels bad. So those frames could definitely use some touch-ups because they're really new, actually. And even though Steinex got his 4 nerfed, he's so much better than Gyre. So, yeah. Okay, cynical stuff here. It's actually just a Rhino skin. Bug Boy is just a Rhino skin. If you are like that, I hope that you're wrong because we really need some good updates in this game. I'm not saying that a bug frame would instantly make it a good update, but man, another update with just a skin, that would suck. But yeah, maybe it's actually just a Rhino skin. Are you happy now? Moving on, new Kuva weapons. If you are on the copium train of this is an infested lich rhino, there you go. You could probably just fill that one if it's an infested lich, honestly. But new Kuva weapons, new Tenant weapons, Sisters of Parvos liches, Kuva liches. We got 2 new weapons for them all of last year, Tenant Plinks and Tenant Ferox. That's the end of the year. So it feels like easy content to make to me personally. Like maybe I'm like completely ignorant, but you'd think adding some like reskinned weapons with some buff stats. They've done enough Kuva weapons at this point. Like the formula should be figured out. Like a Kuva Sobek, a Kuva Volcar, whatever you feel like going for. The fan favorite weapons, those things should be added. So please do that soon. Audio issues, they usually have audio issues. The whole Hi Tenno meme came from somebody having audio issues in the dev stream. So, or hello Tenno. Moving on, Warframe Netflix series joke. I was just thinking, I haven't watched The Last of Us show yet, but apparently that's pretty good on HBO. And, maybe they'll be like, oh, when are we going to get our Netflix series? With, like how Cyberpunk had theirs, and Last of Us had theirs. I'm trying to remember some other good video game. The Witcher, I thought The Witcher was okay for, like, the first, season, kind of. Second season definitely fell off. And now that they've lost the main actor, the third season hopefully is good, because that's his last season. And we'll see with the next guy. All right, off on that tangent. Cross-platform info. This is probably the one that most people want. What's going on with that cross-save? What's going on with the cross-platform trading? What's going on with that cross-platform clans? Even cross-platform friends list while we're at it. Cross-platform stuff. We need more info. We've been waiting. Cross-play works. It works technically. It might make public matchmaking feel inconsistent at times because it's like, is this guy going to be on like PS3 or whatever and take forever to load in or not? And like yesterday I had a situation where I was joining in on somebody in public matchmaking. The loading was going so slow. I tried to close my game. The game wouldn't let me close it. It was that broken. So there's still problems with cross-play. Even if people want to deny that, it's not perfect, okay? Nothing is perfect, and our cross-play is definitely not perfect, but at least it works. So there's that. We need more information on that ASAP. Shield getting discussed. Like armor and health are not phenomenal, like we said with Anaros earlier, at high levels. So maybe some shield getting discussion. Make it where shield getting, get longer shield getting if you have higher shields. Make it where shield getting is lesser if you have lesser shields, things like that. Make it so you don't have to always run Decay and Dragon Key if you want to be meta shield getting and all that. So DE has talked about this before in the past, but they haven't really given us any details. So since we have a new dev team in 2023, they could be changing stuff going forward. Last couple things here. This one, Stalker mode, is kind of just a funny little shoe-in. Basically, there's a thing called Stalker mode that the devs would use to play as the Stalker in missions. And they were saying that we were going to get that a while ago, and also have a Stalker Syndicate, too. But that kind of disappeared from discussion. So maybe they could talk about it again. I feel like that's like a Steve thing, and Steve's one of those guys that went to Warframe, like we were talking about earlier. So maybe that's just completely never happening again. But it could be kind of funny to, it would actually be very annoying as a content creator to get invaded by the Stalker all the time, because I guarantee that would happen. But I would definitely be spawn camping you if you were invading me as a Stalker in my mission. So be ready for that if this ever comes out. And then the last thing here, the reason behind Duviri's delay. We pretty much know this is happening. They'll be telling us what's happening with Duviri development, and Duviri was basically delayed. We're getting Citrine's Last Wish. I said that so many times yesterday, I actually remember the name of the update now. Citrine's Last Wish will be the next update and not Duviri. So we will find out potentially what happened with Duviri. At this point, I feel like it might be TennoCon, which is hilarious because they said it was going to be on December, but here we are saying, oh, it might be on TennoCon now. Craziness. Actual craziness. So, either way, guys, hope you found this video fun and helpful. I'll see you on the stream tomorrow. I appreciate all the support. I'm going to go record some more videos just for later in the week. And yeah, I appreciate all the support, guys. Take it easy and have fun. Peace.